Hi everyone, welcome to Memory Matters for All Ages. I'm Janelle Nichols, representing the Gables of Hudson Assisted Living Residents. I want to welcome Catherine Kilpatrick back. If you've been watching, you know she is a speech-language pathologist, an author, a speaker. She works with home health and private clients. And Kathy has talked quite often about keeping our brains fit. And it's something that we're all interested in. We all worry about our memory. We don't want to lose our memory. So we do puzzles, brain games, chess, play piano. I know I am a crossword puzzle junkie. Kathy, my question for you today is this enough?
Good question. You've been around me way too long.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's really important to keep your mind engaged. And, like if we keep doing the same thing, that's better than being a couch potato or a mouse potato, as they say. Mm-hmm. But we really need to bring it up a notch and challenge our brain. And I think, last time we talked about dementia, and something near and dear to my heart, in addition to, giving families strategies and also red flags to look for, safety recommendations and so forth, is to upgrade what their loved one is doing, because often when there's hearing and vision and speech and memory problems, and along with the dementia, lack of initiation, someone will sit in front of the TV and sleep most of the day. And there are so many activities, and so many of the things that I've created, the products I've created, can be modified. So the person with the crossword puzzle, when they can't do it at the level that they used to, that it can be modified to another one. So we'll talk about some of the things, there as we go along, but we'll give you ways to upgrade that.
All right. So in answer to my question, these are good things. I mean, we're on the right track to keep our brain active and to do brain games and puzzles and crossword puzzles.
Absolutely.
They're a good thing.
Right.
So what are some other things to consider, however?
Well, first of all, research has shown that we have neuroplasticity in our brain. So we used to think, okay, we're losing brain cells by the time we're 30. But research is actually showing, and this is a simplistic explanation, by challenging your brain, you may be strengthening the connections between those brain cells. So we need to challenge our brain to be able to do things that are different for us, and that's really, really important.
So there's even a physical connection here. I mean, you're saying that the way you would exercise or lift weights to strengthen yourself physically, doing brain games actually strengthens
can help
our brain?
Absolutely. Or for the person that's not doing anything, I mean, the connections between the brain cells. I mean, that's again a very simplistic explanation.
Right, sure.
But we need to be aware that in not doing anything,
that's
what's
what I was
happening.
going to ask. Is the opposite true if we don't do anything? So use it or lose it?
Right. In many ways. And if you can't use it, how can it be modified to your level so that you can have some enjoyment and keep your brain engaged? And so what happens for us, if I'm working with someone and I have to think of ways to keep them engaged, I'm using my thinking skills, so my brain's getting a challenge, and I'm helping the other person to connect and have some activities. So it's definitely being, out of the box. And then, it's interesting, and we've talked about this when we've done the 7-day memory fitness plan, when we did it for, a senior group that was doing the Encore program in Hudson, which is now, I believe, the SAGE program. And
wonderful
I'm hoping Iris
program.
can join us for a program.
That would be great.
But why is it important to challenge your brain? First of all, it supports brain health, okay? It supports a positive attitude, because then you're thinking, one of the things I've been told over and over again is we need to find something new every decade. This was a few decades ago before everything started changing so much, to challenge our brain with. So I had a certain area that I did some studying in the 90s. It was just an area of interest. I noticed a friend of mine who, we went on vacation over the weekend, and I noticed that she's starting to get really into World War II history and reading all kinds of things. And what benefit is to me is that she is telling about it, which is good for her brain, but I'm also learning new information that I probably at this point in my life, with all that's going on, not sit down and read those same things. So it relieves boredom, because you sit and do the same thing over and over again, and it's boring. So you kind of get hooked into something new. It makes you a more interesting person because you've got a variety of things to talk about instead of who said what to you or what's upsetting you or excuse me, the stuff in your daily routine. It enhances the quality of your days, and it improves your self-esteem because then you start to feel a little more knowledgeable. You can interject things in a conversation, and somebody's going to be intent on listening to some new information that you're bringing, and then connects you with new interests in people. So I had taken a class on Zentangling last year. Actually, this same friend, it was a birthday gift to her. Well, she's had quite a bit of time that she is devoted to decorating mugs and making bookmarks and all of that. And once I get moved, my plan is there's a weekly class in the area on Saturday. So, I think it's maybe it's not weekly, maybe it's monthly. And I'm going to go to that, so I'm going to meet new people and have some new interests with there. And then the bottom line too is, guess what? It helps with our memory because we're challenging those brain cells. So that's an important part of what we can do here.
Listening to you give us those tips, one thing struck me is that everything is interrelated. It's like an exercise program or a diet program or a nutritional program. There are multifacets to that. It's not just take this pill and everything's going to be fine. Everything's interconnected. And when you were talking about that you learned something, then you are conversing about it.
Right.
And I mean that's
it's just
all
so stimulating.
Good. It
right,
is.
Right,
it is.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to point out is a while back you had done a program on technology. And in this instant, technology would not be, I mean, you don't want to do all technology, but it would be all right. When you were talking about this friend of yours that's getting into World War II, I was thinking of watching these specials on the Smithsonian Channel and the History Channel and the Discovery Channel. And again, you get new information that you didn't know before. I watched something recently about a teacher during World War II, amazing teacher. And that night at dinner, I couldn't wait to tell my husband all about this program.
Right.
So we've got the resource of cable TV and these channels and these specials. Then we have the computer and the web and all that. So it's not just a curse. Yeah. We can use those.
Oh,
also.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's interesting as you're sharing that. It is all about attitude. I mean, it always boils down to I want to learn and you're eager. I did a talk once and this woman said, well, yeah, I read, but I only like to read certain kinds of books. And I kind of laughed and I said, well, that's your choice. But if you want some cognitive stimulation, read something on a different topic and then share about it. So, it's kind of like how we do that.
So a balance, a balance.
Sure. And that's what I want to talk about now. There, you mentioned there's a lot of programs out there with brain games and people are interested in those and they have wonderful, wonderful features. But the thing that I caution is if you keep doing the same area over and over again, it's stimulating the same part of your brain. And variety is more than the spice of life when it comes to this. So there's like 6 things. I came across this, probably about a dozen years ago. And I thought, wow, this is a really good template. I have no idea where I came across, but thank you for the person that shared that. And so here's what they suggested. You need to make sure that you have something you're doing that you really have to think while you're doing the activity. So maybe you're building something. In the good old days, I used to sew my own clothes and you get a different pattern. So each time it was a little different challenge, putting in the zipper or whatever. Could be an art project or planning a trip. So you want to have some good, deep thinking skills going on with that. Secondly, do a familiar activity in a new way. So when you're doing those puzzles, put your pen or pencil in your other hand and print with your non-dominant hand. If you're right-handed, the left side of your brain's getting a workout. I have people all the time, stroke patients who cannot use a certain hand, their dominant hand, and have them switch over, and within a week, they're able to print. I'm not talking cursive. So that, or don't always go to the same store. Or have dinner with the same people, or read the same type of books, or only read the editorials in a certain paper. That's important. Third thing is an ongoing learning process. So maybe it's a language, and it doesn't have to be the whole language. Maybe you're going on a trip and so you want to learn 100 words in French to be able to do some of the social niceties, things like that, or a dance routine, or I know you play the piano, and sometime we'll have to take when we have some time for you to tell about that piano grouping thing that you did, and that's a big brain challenge in terms of all of that.
Yes.
And then the last two things we've talked about over and over again: physical activity, okay, and socially interactive. And those are, so if you put something in each one of those slots and then update them and switch them out every once in a while, your brain's going to be happy because those neurons are going to be chatting.
Those are very valid points and good points, and I think that we are creatures of habit. Even more than we realize. And if you do attend church, you don't see it anywhere more clearly than you do in church, where you sit in the same spot every Sunday.
Right.
All right? So if I understand right, you're telling us variety is what we need.
Spice of life and good
Shake it up
for
a
your
little
memory.
bit. Shake it up a little bit. You have told me for many years to switch hands like that. I am right-handed. I do try to brush my teeth left-handed. I try to stir a pot in the kitchen left-handed if I think of it. And I think that's just very
Even
interesting.
turning
Something very
pages
simple.
in the book. I talked about doing free cell. One night I thought, practice what you preach. So this was when I wasn't doing it on my laptop and I had the mouse. You put the mouse in the other hand.
How'd that work out for you?
Well, you know what? You have to pay attention, first of all, and it's almost like you can feel your brain going to work.
Isn't that interesting?
It's a fascinating
very
concept.
interesting.
And so, like someone like my mom, who was a whiz at Scrabble, as she started having difficulties, what we would do is she would take longer, then she would refer to a cheat sheet, and then she would no longer keep score and someone would, or then I would help her with words. And so we didn't give up. She didn't play with other people because they didn't know how to modify that, whereas this is what I do for a living.
Right.
And so we played Scrabble up until my last visit with her before she got seriously ill, and because that was important to her, and it was important to me. And so I will help families walk through activities that way. So
I'm glad you mentioned that. Before we close out the program, I do want to remind everyone to watch at the end of the program, where you can get more information about how to contact Kathy. Her website will be on there. Also remember, Kathy writes a blog that corresponds to what we're talking about each week. So the goal of Memory Matters for All Ages is to get tools in your hands that will help you, or information that you can pass on to others. Also, Catherine's 7-day fitness plan is on there, and some of her resources. So watch at the end of the program, and I would urge all of you to get on her website and look at the many things that Kathy has to offer. Great information on the website.
thanks, Janelle.
Kathy, close us out. You always give us something to for our journey this week.
Right, okay. So change it up, folks, but definitely go to that blog, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you links to sample pages from a lot of my brain teaser workbooks that you can just print off and try and have fun with. And our quote is, "Our bodies are meant to move, and our brains are built for novelty."
Very
and
good.
it's by Dr. Michelle Carlson.
Very good, very good. Love those quotes. Thank you for watching, everyone. I do want to remind you, here we are in the last week of January. I don't know how those resolutions have gone, but I've got a couple resolutions I'd like to plan in your mind. Number one, tell someone about this program that might not have watched it before. Tell them to tune in to Memory Matters for All Ages. And your second resolution is to get on the website and look at everything that Kathy has to offer. Kathy, thank you so much. I'll see you
Fun as
next
always.
week.
Yep.
Fun as always. Good information. And now all of you out there, go and make it a great day.